behind the days. I have a question.
Yes.
That's completely off topic, but on topic. How have you maintained / not maintained relationships while doing this bananas of a career?
The meat of it.
Wait, romantic relationships?
Mm-hmm.
How have
having a partner? Like how have you navigated that while doing this? Because this is something we talk about frequently about how hard it is to do this career and how selfish we all have to be in like moving ourselves forward, and it's hard to maintain when you're traveling and things like
Whether
that.
Whether you're with an actor or not.
Right. Like how's that gone?
Well, you're catching me at a time of a beautiful awakening in terms of I've been with my boyfriend for 4 years. He's an incredible human being and person, Christy Perfettis, and he has been the most patient with a kind of like realization on my part that I've turned into my father. And so I've been going to therapy and realizing some things that my dad displayed and did to us that we did not like, I'm now doing. So I guess the first thing is find yourself a real, genuine, honest human being. Mm-hmm. Someone who is independently awesome, not just like super talented or like gorgeous or, you know, like with Chris, I have everything. But at the heart of it, he is the kindest man I've ever met. And we understand what we need to do for our relationship. I mean, for our careers.
Is he a performer as well? Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay, great.
And so I think we're both, and what's been beautiful is through this awakening that I'm discovering is that I'm like, I was just talking to, do you know Vicki Lewis? She's in Anastasia right now playing, what's her name? Lily, the Countess?
Yes.
Countess Lily or something like that.
Yeah.
Or she is working for the Countess. Something. Aunt Lily? I don't know.
Someone is there.
but
Vicki Lewis is in Anastasia at some role.
There we go.
She was one of the voices of one of the fish in Finding Nemo in the tank. And she was also huge in that TV show in the 90s, News Radio, and then she's like been in everything. You probably would recognize her. So she's back, and she's like one of my greatest peeps. And Chris and I went to see her, and we were on stage, and she looked at us, and she's like just so happy for us. And then her husband is incredible, and we were all talking about, isn't it so nice to get to a point where you find your person, where you're not dating for a toxic reason, or you're not dating for advancement, or you're not trying to fix someone, or you're not trying to like get somewhere because you're with that person, where all of a sudden you just feel so comfortable and that you're like, oh, that matters. Like having that support is what I've been searching for and wanting, and then now we get to share each other's careers together and not be in competition. And not that I would ever feel competitive, but there is sometimes when you're taken out and you're put into a world of theater, regionally or wherever, you get consumed in the honeymoon of that family. Yep. And all of a sudden, all their drama and all their stuff, which while you're in it, you're loving and or you're kind of like dealing with or working with, and you become a family. So the other person's not a part of that. Right. But what I'm starting to learn is like to know that my partner is happy, is working, is doing what he loves to do, and I'm not threatened by that. I think if you're ever threatened by someone else's success or happiness, I don't think that's the best place to base a relationship. But what I'm discovering right now is with Chris is that I've met my man, now I can relax. Now I can do and do the things I love to do and celebrate in the things that he does, and that you just have to make an effort. I think I got so comfortable because I was married previously, and in that relationship I was trying to be the perfect husband, trying to be the perfect everything, because I didn't want to create what I witnessed with my parents. So I wanted to be like, I'm perfect, I'm amazing, like look at, and I knew that my husband's needs before he knew them, and he was like, what the hell are you doing? He's like, I don't even know I want pancakes, and there are pancakes in front of me. I just was like bonkers. And then finally when I realized like none of my needs are being met, I had this thing where I would shut off and kind of like pull away. And I realized now, like having someone like Chris, who it's like, oh, I don't have to do that anymore. I can just be myself. I got really comfortable for a while, and I wasn't showing much affection or consideration or reaching out, because I was like, oh, we're fine. I'm so comfortable with you now. But then I just of recent discovered, oh no, and I was sitting with Beth Level at Westway Diner, and I was telling her, I said, I'm not being romantic. And she went, what are you talking about? I was like, it's not there right now. It's just, I don't know why. And she's like, you have to be romantic. She's like, you have to put forth effort to that person that you love. And it shouldn't feel like effort. It should just be like, because you love this person. And I just clicked with me. I was like, oh, and now that I've made this realization that I was being my father, I was pulling away, I was being something that I didn't really want to be, going to therapy, healing all that, and now I see my boyfriend anew, and I'm like, oh yeah. I went down to Vero Beach to go see my man in Mamma Mia, and I took him to Disney to celebrate 4 years together. Wow. So it's an effort. Like but I think it's difficult. When you're young, there's so many other things, and there's such there's such attention to career that tends to kind of make you feel like, oh, anything that takes away from my career is threatening me and threatening my happiness. So I think at age 41, I'm kind of like, I found my person, and now it's just excited to watch his career and my career and celebrate each other's successes together. Does that make any sense?
We were so we were so
No, it's
in it. Oh my god.
No, I was getting hot thinking about it because it's very.
I was too.
It's right at the surface for me right now, because I have a very patient boyfriend who, for a year and a half, I have not been wonderful, and I have been distant.
Oh
There's a ding. And now that I've been given,
I'm sorry.
That's right. I've been given this chance, to really look at myself and go, you can make this adjustment. You can, as soon as I just acknowledged it and saw where it was coming and saw this beautiful human being and what he had to go through and trying to be what's happening? Just so you know, if this continues, I don't know if I can be with that energy. And that moment I went, okay. And just made that change. But I think it's not work in the sense that it's oh, I have to, what the?
I don't know how to
I'm pouring my heart out.
I'm so sorry.
Leave, sir.
It's Oscar, he won't stop. Okay.
Our intern?
Yes, our intern, the intern Oscar.
But it should just be you're so excited to do the work. And then all of a sudden you're in all honesty, there's no one else. This is it. This is my person. This is when I'm around him, I'm relaxed and excited and want to work through everything. You have to be honest to yourself and through the good and the bad. That's it. Nothing can be oh, that's the thing that's going to tip that I'm not going to be with you anymore. Oh, there's that thing that you're going to do to me. Okay, bye. I had to learn how to take my narcissism and kind of shut it up and be don't make it always about you. You have to make it also equal. Wow. I think that's a huge thing, is balancing.
Shout out to Chris.
Did you meet Chris when did you meet him?
Blind date 4 years ago, January
Blind date?
January 26th or January 27th.
Blind date. Yeah, that's insane.
Did you have mutual friends that
Yeah.
set you up?
So our friend Tori, she just finished the Finding Neverland tour, and I was at my friend Travis's and sitting on the couch. And Travis is just about to go be the associate director for the Cher show. And I love Travis. And we met in San Francisco doing Tales of the City. And he's incredible. So I'm there with Tori and with Travis. And I'm single and we're just chatting. And Tori goes, do you want to meet somebody? And I go, okay. She's like, it's the holy grail of men. And I went, sure. She pulled up the Facebook page and I saw his face and went, yep. I'm good about that. And then same thing to Chris. He saw my picture, was okay. He was a little fed up with men, didn't really want to put himself out there, was kind of I'm okay being single. I was the same way. And we met at a restaurant called Good in the West Village, and it's no longer there. But I got there early, didn't see him, went around the block, came back, and then he was in the window in a checkered red and black shirt, looked like a lumberjack, like bearded, and I saw him in the window. And what's interesting is I remember him as a kid. This image, this face, this person is who I've been looking for. And I think when you meet that person, you kind of want to like play saboteur, or you kind of want to like think like, oh, someone could never love me that much, or like maybe I should just be kind of safe and not give my whole heart because, you know, this can't be that amazing. But then when you realize, you just go, okay, I surrender to it. And I think in our careers, you have to surrender to that person.
They're
Yeah.
coming. I can see it. I'm just like,
No, but it's so
no,
like
that's incredible.
this piece that I'm doing, that I choreographed on 6 dancers, that's happening tomorrow night at my friend Will Taylor, that I did 3 Broadway shows with. He curated this evening where choreographers have to put together a piece on one condition. This time we have to incorporate blindfolds. And so I went, oh, I have been like, you know, like symbolically blind to my actions, and so I created this whole piece where all 6 of them are blindfolded, and they are doing things to their bodies to kind of like deal with what they've been doing, and in a way like not protecting but trying to shed off habits, and they do kind of pedestrian movement and things like massaging their arms, trying to like free themselves of habits so they can come to their partner. And halfway through the piece, they have to walk blindfolded sideways to find their partner, and then they do a pretty like dance together and then separate and end it one more time with trying to shed the habit so that they can be present. And by the time they shed everything and they're just completely vulnerable, they just reach their arm out to the side. And I told the dancers, if you connect with your partner, great. If you don't, it will black out. So it's that idea of once you tell someone, I've done all these things, I understand, but I have full faith in the person that I can be, will you still love me? So it's like, it's been beautiful to work on a piece.
That was amazing. Oh my God.
No, but it's been so beautiful to.
Love that.
A lot of my stuff I've been doing right now doesn't pay, and it's just I know like just to continually work to put my stuff.
I was gonna ask
Yeah,
you about this, 'cause
Yeah.
You're always doing new projects.
Yep. I just know, and it just keeps me fueled, and I kind of knew I would be poor my whole life, and should something fabulous happen, great, but I knew I'm an artist, and I have that. I have this other cabaret coming up where I'm introducing my alter ego, Mr. Man, who writes music, and that's going to be an introduction. That's going to be fabulous. I'm in my first ballet. I'm getting paid for that through my mentor, Maurice Brandon Curry, is the director. So I play a very over-the-top dance teacher, and then I play a priest and a horse, and then I'm also dancing my butt off in a waltz. And I knew after knee surgery that I had in August that this would be an amazing opportunity to really strengthen my leg. And then I'm going to go teach in Tennessee, and then the summer choreographing my first opera, and then going to the Muni. So, yeah.
What are you doing at the Muni?
I'll play Bert Healy in Annie. That's directed by John Tartaglia, so I'm so excited about that. And then I'll choreograph Meet Me in St. Louis.
Oh,
So
my
you believe in
Lanta.
creating your own work?
Yeah, that's what they taught us at Tisch.
Okay.
Yeah, they kept saying,
Well, that's a big thing that we believe in.
yeah.
Here we are.
Yeah.
Podcast.
No, but like I think because I always believe that I do everything. So I'm going to be this performer, but I'm also going to be this director and choreographer. And I wrote a children's book and I illustrated that. So now I'm like trying to get that out there. It's about a little boy who wears a tutu and how everyone just accepts it's a tutu and he's wearing it and no one like gives him a hard time about it. And I illustrated it to like a single stroke of a marker so kids can apply their imagination. And then my friend wrote a play for me that's about a boy who's raised as a girl to suit the needs of his father, and it's set in this kind of fairy tale world, and it's like a beautiful piece about gender identity and sexuality. And so we're hoping maybe right now, like the Fulton is interested in maybe doing a workshop of it, but fingers crossed, who
When
knows?
do you sleep, Josh?
Oh, I sleep now. When I had an ex-husband who said, you gotta sleep. And I was like, no, I don't. I think I really was fear of missing out. I wanted to be like always up, get a little bit of sleep, and then be up before my boyfriend or my friend or whatever, just so I never lost out on anything. I was nuts. You can ask my friends. Seriously, you can ask my friends. I was bonkers. I would never admit sickness. I would never admit anything but just like nothing. Like especially in college, I was like happy. I never experienced an emotion. College kind of helped me be like, no, you gotta tap into your emotions. So you gotta know what you're feeling when you're on stage. Sometimes I would go down the wrong road. I'd be way too in my emotions, and my
Right.
friends are like, whoa, Walden, like too much. but a lot of my friends have witnessed.
Whoa, Walden.
No, seriously. But my friends have witnessed a journey and have witnessed me come from a family. Both my parents I love. My mom passed away, but I have a profound relationship with her. My dad and I now have a profound relationship, but I had no love language. So it's been interesting to, through acting and through all my projects and through the artists and the mentors that I've worked with, like Marsha Milgram Dodge is like my biggest mentor and mother. Working through them and everything, I've been able to develop this love language. And getting married and then divorced, that taught me a lot about love. But yeah.
Wow.
So this is like therapy with Walden.
No, I've been loving it though.
Yeah.
Good
I cried.
Lord.
So that was a behind the desk.
Yeah,
first.
yes.
That's not true. I've made you cry.
Not
Oh.
like recording a podcast.
Oh.
Just talking to me sometimes.
Well, normally there's alcohol, so it's a little easier.
But yeah, that was a lot about like I mean I am currently just vibrating. It's this like I'm in such a beautiful space. I'm excited to create in this space. That's why this dance piece tomorrow night feels so good because it's like
Is
absolutely.
there any goal that you really want that you haven't attained yet?
I think I eventually would like a little more stability, so I would love my own dance company, which slowly building that. Walden Dance Theater. I had my first ballet done like way back when I had the money to do it, 2003, 2004, 2006. But I really want to take my legacy, I hope, is taking what I learned, Stanislavski, acting and the other kind of like training I had at NYU, and marry it with my Gene Kelly love for storytelling, like choreography, and marry the two as a way to teach and work acting directly into a movement. So you choreograph based off of wants, based off of needs and objectives from the character, as opposed to just piecing together stock steps that you know and that you can just easily throw up on stage, but actually have something where the actor does something to another actor on stage and that creates dialogue.
Do you think you're going to continue and like push that legacy here, or do you
think
want to
so.
take that? Okay, all right. Yeah. So
I mean,
this
if
is
San
the city for you, though.
if San Francisco opened up an opportunity for me, I would move there.
So that's your only other like major city that
Yeah.
you like that. Okay.
Have you
much-
ever thought of? I'm sorry.
How much time did you spend in San Fran?
A lot. I did a show at ACT. I did shows outside of San Francisco in like Lafayette and Walnut Creek. But the energy there, and my boyfriend and I went and I showed it to him, and he was like, "Oh my God!" Just the idea that it's the ancient city of Atlantis calling back descendants of the original, inhabitants, and we're all going to go back into the water together. I think that's beautiful. The mist as it comes through, the bridge, like everything about it just seems magical. I know some people don't like it and have expressed to me, "Don't move there." And I'm like, no, I think it will be the place to eventually either retire or establish a company.
Gotcha.
So other than San Francisco, have you ever wanted to live anywhere other than New York?
Maybe Key West.
Okay.
Just gay meccas is basically what I'm thinking. San Francisco, Key
was gonna
West.
say.
But I do, and I was talking to my boyfriend, I do with him want to purchase land on Pleasant Lake in New Hampshire, where that's where I grew up and just right on the water. So my dad can have a place to go and that Chris and I can have a place to go. But that's romantic. That doesn't have anything to do with like career.
What were you gonna ask?
That's what I was gonna ask.
What I was? Oh, okay.
Well, that and have you ever wanted to live anywhere else?
Yeah, yeah.
We've been discussing that.
yeah.
As
We've
of late.
literally almost hit every episode
Yeah.
in the series.
Oh, good.
Well, because he's moving. Because New York
Right.
isn't
Yeah,
his
right.
thing,
No, and that's like so interesting to hear that that's the
New
other
York
city.
has been good to me. I can feel the energy. What's been interesting is I've been doing lots of regional and stuff that takes me out. So New York has never gotten to a place where it has beaten me up. I did 42nd Street on Broadway for 2 years, and that was just magical. I was a swing, so half the week I wasn't on, I could just relax. Half of it I was on, so I could tell all my friends to come see. And that was just pure bliss. That show was like magical. Just to have my parents see me fulfill a dream. I think my grandpa came before he passed away, and it just like that stage and what is the name of it now? The where Harry Potter is going into? Is it the Lyric now or?
yeah, the
When,
Yes.
That's right.
When I was there, it was the Ford Center for the Performing Arts. Is that right? I think so.
That's catchy.
Yeah, but right. But it was
glad they changed that.
it was when they were like revitalizing 42nd Street, and so
Yeah.
they took, I believe they took 2 theaters and combined them into this massive theater.
That's huge. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like that was magical. But I have some friends who've been beaten up by New York, but to me, I have this gorgeous apartment. I live in Hudson Heights, which is this beautiful community of Jewish residents and artists. So there's like pleasantry. It's not like an assault, like the sound or the light pollution is really gentle. It feels like a neighborhood. And then like I've met all my greatest mentors and friends and people here. Like my tribe is here. One of my best friends, Noah Weisberg, moved to LA and he loves it there, but I just don't know if I could.
I was gonna say I don't feel like the city's beating me up necessarily because like the work's been fine and
Yeah.
like I'm dealing with those things. It's just the overall energy is so intense and manic for me. I think that's more than anything what I'm ready to escape. Because I grew up in a city. I lived in Chicago. That was a city. I lived in
Yeah.
Austin, major city. Going to LA, I've loved every time I visited out there. But here it's so finite and compact, and everybody's got this heightened awareness about them, like
Right.
that. Like we're all like ready to like kiss or kill at any moment, and it's just. I feel like I'm aging like faster being here because it's not like stressing me out. It's just like kind of slowly chipping away.
Sure. No, I mean that makes total sense.
Yeah.
Like I used to be like any friend that would leave the industry or leave New York, I'd be like, what are you doing? This is the best place to, yeah, this is like the best industry to be in. I had no idea that there was another world beyond musical theater. I was just like, no, this is
You're
it.
a quitter.
Yeah. No, but then I think I realized it was like, oh, maybe it's making me question my own importance or
Yeah.
significance, but I just now celebrate anyone who just realizes, no, my heart and my spirit belongs elsewhere. But seriously, for me, New York will always be my home. I could easily stay in this apartment and die in it.
That's great.
Have you noticed a big change in the industry since you began here? Like any huge changes?
I think so.
Oh, I thought you were like going into like, oh,
Yeah. Yeah. No, because I was trying to.
List the ways.
I don't like. I think I've witnessed. Well, what's interesting is I've witnessed my age or my aging, and seeing that now there are kids in their 20s that are starting out and doing their thing, and I luckily don't feel like threatened. It's more just like, oh, I'm at that point now, able to watch it and see that.
Because Kelly O'Hara said recently, my friend was telling me that she doesn't know if she would have made it in the current climate. Because she feels like there's so many. I mean, we've talked about this before. There's so many new talents that are asked of you. Like everyone's being asked to be an
That's
actor,
true.
musician. Everyone,
Yep.
and like, have you seen a lot of those differences? How do you react to those?
I don't think I would have done as well, because my thing was dancing. That was my way in. Even though I was like consider myself a triple threat, dancing was like, oh yeah, a guy who dances, and then I'm gonna sing gloriously, and you're gonna be like, oh, he sings too, great. I think with the demands and auditions that I have been to of recent, where they put in every difficult step that's ever been made, one right after another, and instead of like combinations when I first like started auditioning, had some like, we'll go here and go there, and then you kick your face, and then we'll do this over here, and then a double. Every audition I've been to recently is like double, switch lead, on the floor. Like it seems like you have to put everything, and there's this kind of like grotesque demand on these dancers in that moment, like whatever, like 4 counts of 8. And I remember that there used to be more attention to, I don't know if like style's the right word, but it seemed like storytelling, or they were like
Character.
looking for motion, and then they wanted to see a trick.
But in our So You Think You Can Dance, I Want It Now kind of climate that we live in, that everything has to be knockout spectacle.
I think
That's
I
the
think
culture
even
that's
the
being
music has
created.
changed so much. I mean,
Oh my
the
God.
demands
Oh,
are so
yeah.
much higher on. I mean, as a female belter, like they get higher with every show that comes out. You're like, okay, I thought I had that top note, now I don't.
Oh.
Not with this show, you know?
No, I
like all
definitely-
the showstopper songs. It used to be like 11 o'clock number, and that was beautiful. And now a lot of the new shows are like there's an 11 o'clock number all the time, and you're
Yeah.
like hitting it,
Right.
hitting it. So
Like,
like
yeah.
that, it's just so heightened.
I mean, it's guys too. It's like tenor or nothing.
Yeah.
Too.
I know,
Like,
right?
That is.
Yeah, and I always have been like, oh, I'm the high tenor. And of recent, I've been in rooms where there are people who I have been like, no, you take the C. Oh, you want that D? You go for it. Like, there are people who have just been cultivated to be those insane tenors. Whereas before, I'd be like, me. Now I'm like, please, I'm good. I'll be
Stay
down.
down
Yeah.
on the
I'll be
staff like
comfy
I'm
down
good.
Yeah. And not like just because I'm lazy, but more like that person clearly wants it more. I wonder if there is this fear of something not being exciting, which I wonder is a result of social media or our phones,
That's what I think,
where we're
yeah.
bored, so we're constantly trying to be stimulated. So if you have a show which maybe might be, but that's not true, because what's the band's visit? There are things out there, I think, that are testing and giving us new forms. So you know what? In all honesty, I don't know if I can pinpoint exactly what the trend is, where like how different it is, because I feel like there is everything out there right now, and so I'm not really like too sure what I could pinpoint. Like, oh, I know when I first joined or started auditioning, the muscle gym body was becoming the new norm for the chorus boy, and I remember like seeing slim bodies dancing on Broadway and like every type. And then I started to see late 90s, early 2000s that it was gym, not your ballet class, that was more important. So I saw that change, and I saw also like all leading men all of a sudden were like ripped, and it's now only like of recent that I've been like, you know what, I'm gonna have to really dive into that and make that an important part of my life to get that body, because that is something that sells, that someone can look at them and be like, yep, that's exactly the uniformed look we want. But when I hire, I try to get like the stocky, chunkier guy, the really tall, gangly girl. I tried to get a range of like,
Sounds like you guys need to do a show.
just right. No, but just like and that's I learned from my mentor, Marcia. She loves human beings. She loves characters, and not just this hot, beautiful, sexy thing that there can be arranged. Like I remember when Chicago first came out, the revival, the first company. I remember seeing types. I remember seeing an older, skinnier guy, and then seeing like all these shapes.
Did you do that?
No.
Oh, okay.
I think it's because of my body, because of my physical type. I'm not jacked, and I think when I go in there, I don't know, I just must look really small and not impressive. But I have watched that show go from like all these various types, and even a guy in there looked not like he wasn't heavy, but he just looked like he had some girth, and I loved seeing that on stage. And then it kind of has morphed into all my friends who are in it are like uberly skinny or built, and I think that's become the brand, which like no fault. It's just like that's what is beautiful and sells it. But I remember being so excited to see types and people and humanity, but then also with the prices that you're paying now, there's so much fantasy that everyone's trying to like make sure that they get their money's worth of fantasy. So we're gonna give you this set, and we're gonna give you these costumes, and we're gonna give you this type of performer or this look. So
Well, and also
it's
just like
yeah.
pandering, like that was it Post article that came out, the tourism theater situation. Was that who it was? Post? Whatever.
I don't know.
But just like pandering spectacle to audiences, talking about SpongeBob and Frozen and one other one, was it Donna Summer or something like that, all of which they're amazing performers in, but it was like, hey, the audiences are still smart, don't just give them, not that it's crap on a plate, but it's
Of
just
course.
like, selling them spectacle.
Yeah.
I think that's interesting too. I also had
Oh yeah, it was the Post.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just remembered the
Well, it's
article.
Also,
Yeah.
I remember this. I'm curious about this too. When you were first doing, like, I have two specific instances when we're talking about like, oh, these like new things that people like have to do because they're part of the spectacle. One person who got in like On Your Feet just because he is an absurdly good salsa dancer has never had any like intention or like want to be on Broadway.
Yeah.
And he just like all of a sudden was on Broadway. He's not a singer, like none of that. Just a fabulous salsa dancer. He's really fabulous.
Yeah.
And great body. He's very ripped. There you go. And then like another guy who.
But a terrible personality.
He's an
There it
asshole.
is.
He's not listening.
There it is.
No, and then another one that was actually for Banson, the original, who was just a saxophone player, and he sang, but he was a singer at like a dueling piano bar and like played saxophone, and was just like, oh yeah, and now he's just like was in Banson and never done theater really before in his life. And
Yeah.
I think that's interesting. Like, did that ever? Do you remember things like that happening when you first got here? Like any show that would lend itself to even that opportunity?
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Well, also, like, we didn't have to play instruments, like, when
Right.
that, like, that
like a
whole
new thing.
Yeah. I mean, if you had that skill set, it was kind of fierce, but there was never, like, what was the only thing? Maybe play the cello if you're in a Little Night Music. I remember that's the only, like, thing I could imagine. Like, what's the character, Henrik?
Yes.
But, yeah, I always thought my little, tinkling that I could do was, like, great, that's, like, a fierce, like, skill set. But now I have friends who, like, have the mandolin, have the ukulele, have the, dulcimer. Is that an instrument?
Dulcimer.
Yeah.
Look at you.
But no,
You're a regular
I
musician.
I remember going to see Broadway shows and just like I think what I saw was spectacle back in the day. Like the Crazy for Yous felt like spectacle,
Yeah.
and Beauty and the Beast and even like Cats is like the reason why I'm in theater. I saw it when I was 7, the first national tour in Boston at the Schubert. And I remember being introduced to that and being like, someday maybe I can be one of those people. No, Cats is the reason why I'm in theater.
I'm laughing because my Johnny Cash on this last time I did $1 Million Quartet, his like famous quote from that contract was like, I think Cats single-handedly set back musical theater by like 50 years because, and this was his reason why, which is like, I don't particularly love Cats, I don't hate it. That he was like, imagine that you're a girl or even like another friend guy that's like, oh my God, I want to take you to see like this show and like get you to understand musical theater. And then he came in and he's like, that typical straight guy. And then he sees that and he's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're right.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think about it necessarily that way because I'm in musical theater too, but like, I was like, you're not wrong.
Yeah. No, but
But
it's
I
the
get it,
reason.
yeah.
So many
That's
things, like when I
amazing,
look back, like Cats, the movie Flashdance, the movie Dirty Dancing, the movie Xanadu, Les Mis, those were all the things that propelled me to want to do musical theater. And what's funny is like you're saying, Cats gets like a bad rap, and even sometimes Les Mis, I know some people get like have their issues with that show, and Xanadu don't like people like are like
You
have,
gotta know what you're going into. It's
yeah,
ridiculous.
But those are the things that like have propelled or have shaped even my choreographic style.
Yeah.
Like I remember I was watching the opening of Xanadu, the movie, with my friend, and she went, "Oh my God, Walden, this is you.
Yeah.
This is the essence of all your work." And I was like, "Oh my God, you're right. I had no idea." Like watching these muses dance in the beginning from the mural, and they all come off the wall, and I'm like, "What is this psychedelic episode?" And that's how I'm inspired.
Oh my God.
But I don't quite remember back in the day like having people who could like slip in for a specialty.
Right.
Yeah, I don't remember. I just remember thinking like I can dance and like I have style. I can totally like take on someone's style. I never thought that I should really perfect my double tour. I never and that still like haunts me. I'm like, I should really have a double tour under my belt. But I never thought that would be like a reason behind why I wouldn't get something.
Yeah.
I just thought Broadway was like Fosse or Michael Bennett or like those kind of like exciting, like independent, like unique styles that were telling a story.
Right.
And I don't think, it's interesting, like I don't think, like I don't have a strong like opinion about what's happening today is like not what it used to be. It's just like I guess you were asking what's changed, and I think it's that a lot of the choreography for me or storytelling has shifted into, well, what's the greatest thing you can do right now?
Yeah.
Physically, how far can we push your ability?
Bring it on.
Like vocally, you're talking females and even males, but the females I feel horrible for, of the demands that keeps going higher. And we as like the audience or people are being like, yes, more, higher. Instead of like thinking, wait a minute, if they just topped, if she just went even to a B, what is As Long As He Needs Me from Oliver? I think that hits a B, maybe a C. But I can sing it, you know what I mean? And it's like easy to sing. But when she sings it, it's like, you're like, how is she gonna get that note? And she does.
It's a C.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was thinking about it.
No, but it's not like an E. It's not an F. It's not a G. Like those.
Well, I remember like even when I first started singing, they're like, if you got a C, great. You know, they want that C. That C is, you know, prime. And then you start singing more and more, and like, nope. Up. Do you have the F?
Right.
And you're like, maybe.
Yeah. I think same thing for men.
I do.
I think like Book of Mormon, right? They're like 10 or 10 or 10. Like it's
Well,
insane.
Dear Hanson's is huge. Like that tenor
Oh, right.
is crazy.
Well, no, but I mean, yeah, and those are like the lead tracks. But no, even the ensemble of like Book of Mormon,
It's like D's, right? E's?
Yeah, it starts off on B's because they had me do the last bit of the sun is clear in the sky and out in the letter. Like that was the callback, and it was like very clear of just being like, oh, okay, all right, can you do this or can you not? And that was like, that's not fucking ensemble.
It's so high, which
that's not even the lead.
Which I don't mind. Like a Jerry Herman score always like is using the tenors to their fullest, but it's at moments like of just like absolute celebration. But it doesn't feel like an entire show of that. No, it feels like put on your Sunday clothes, screech, bump. And also Stephen Flaherty's work, I remember when I did Ragtime, I was popping just a C at the end of the baseball game. And that was just it, but just like, and done. But stuff I'm hearing, it's like...
But it's also changing, like, for the voices, like the timbre is different.
That's what I was going to say. Like, it's all about a
Golden
pop
Age is higher,
now.
Especially for women, like you're using your vibrato so much, and now they just want you to straight tone, like at the top of the staff, which is a whole different sound.
Right.
You're using, I was telling you earlier, like a whole different part of your mechanism to like hit those notes. Like your mask is like vibrating when you're up there. You're like, wah! Whereas you can use a different part when you're hitting high G's and like operatic kind of repertoire.
So I definitely think like they're whatever, like the more, the higher, the like it seems like that's
the wow factor.
Yeah. And I wonder also too if it's to impress either a producer or someone who has to, you know, make the money. Like it's so expensive to produce something. So when people come, the audience is probably thinking, I paid $200, $300 for a ticket or $1,000 for my whole family. I better see the most extreme of things.
Yeah, and
like a Cirque du Soleil. We finally had Cirque du Soleil on Broadway. And I feel like that is like pushing the body to its most extreme.
Yeah, the wow factor is everywhere though, like in the new shows. Like their set design is wow factor.
Yeah,
like everything is just like, wow.
I forgot to tell you about this, but like there was some of the music. I just saw Mean Girls. Some of the music in that was like really intense, but it never it was just typical pop rock stuff. It never like struck me as anything particularly more strenuous than what was going on. The choreography was very smart and fun and great, but something that made it feel a little bit more relaxed for them is their projection media that they use, which I had never seen used so brilliantly on a Broadway stage, was so good that was enough. It wasn't about a spectacle set or like, I think going further with the music or going further with the choreography. That was all smart and felt right, and the book was incredible. It was just then they got to add that layer of wow through something that was way more simple, and that's something new-ish.
Oh, cool.
And I was like, this is talking about what we're talking about. I was like, oh, this is actually a really good balance. I feel like somebody's found that with the contemporary versus, the wow. And I don't know. It was very strong.
But it's like we could clearly like say things, and then if you look at what's happening, there's always like exceptions. There's always like, so it's like it's not just all this one thing. Yeah. Like things are slipping in.
For sure.
But I know the audition process, that is the most strenuous thing now in terms of what you have to dance in the room, what you're expected to do for sides. I think that for me probably the biggest change. what you're asked of at auditions.
Right. If you're not coming in and like spilling your own blood on the
Yeah.
floor, like you're not getting it.
Yeah, I remember my Billy Elliot audition for the original company. We had to do an obstacle course where we had to like do these jumps over a bar, run up a wall, flick a finger, crazy movement. Then we had to and then I had to like do Newcastle accent and try to like read the brothers' sides. Then I was called in to do like the ballet guy who was the older version spinning the younger version. So I had to be in a room of like fierce ballet dancers, then come in and sing my own stuff. And I remember like they started to have to pay me because I was being called in so much.
Oh my gosh.
And I finally, what was interesting, maybe this is a lesson too, I had been pigeonholed as a swing because I'm 5'9", which is like right in the middle, not short, not tall. I could also sing, dance, and act, whatever you needed, so I could save the day and be there. And I had a great choreographic mind, so I knew like positions and counts, but numbers. But I didn't want to be a second-class citizen. I wanted to own the work. I wanted to create. I didn't want to save the day and just fill in someone's shoes. So I remember with Billy Elliot, I just kept thinking, oh, they want me as a swing and dance captain. So I went over to the casting people and I said, are you thinking of me for dance captain swing? They're like, yeah. I'm like, not interested. So that was a huge step for me to be like, I don't want to just do Broadway because it's Broadway. I want to make sure that what I'm doing on Broadway is what fulfills my soul. And being a swing no longer did that. So I turned that down.
Oh, that's a lesson.
Yeah. And that was a huge hit. It would have given me like years of employment, but I knew I would have no life. The way those shows, a Matilda or a Billy Elliot with the children and the amount of rehearsal and the amount of like time you have to spend at the theater, not worth it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I hope one day I turn down a Broadway
Ha ha!
because I just don't want it.
The most and I'll just brag, the most glorious day was when I was like just pounding the pavement, going out there, and I booked 2 Broadway shows in one day, which was like,
Oh my God.
I don't know.
I took neither of one.
Right? I was like, screw you. No.
I don't need you.
I'm going to San Fran.
Right. It was interesting because it was a vacation swing for a chorus line or a swing in Mary Poppins. And I thought, a chorus line, I will have a chance to play a lead. Mary Poppins, I'll just be a chimney sweep. I won't ever like be a Bert cover or something like that because I'm way too short. So I was like, I'm going to go with the chorus line. I got to do Bobby 2.5 times with my one of my great friends from college, Natalie Cortez, who played Deanna Morales, and we got to be on stage and act and be like, oh my God, dreams
Wait,
coming
2.5,
true.
Did you act to it?
Yes.
Oh,
the boy
shit.
split his contact. He was gone, and then I showed up as the same person. So I'm sure the audience was like, what's happened? Because it's not just a character, actor change. When he leaves, he takes off his sweater. So here I come back, and they're all like, who the hell? And my friend who was watching the show knew that I was just in the beginning, I think, maybe a cut dancer or just backstage. All of a sudden, I'm on stage, and she was like, what?
Fuck just happened.
I thought you were just backstage. Why are you on stage? So that was an amazing day because I remember being in it. I remember just knowing exactly, like, going in with the confidence, being ready to deliver, not being, like, overly, like, pretentious with my energy in the room, but also having them see, like, I'm fierce. You're going to want me in your show. And I also remember Megan Larch, who is the casting woman over at the Muni. She was working for Jay Binder, and they needed to fill a vacation swing, and that's a tall order. So she would call me in and give me a work session. So if all of a sudden I'm auditioning to cover 3 guys. I go in, she goes, here's how you say the line, here's how you do everything, this is what you need to do. And she completely helped me know exactly what I needed to do, so when I went in front of the team, I gave them everything they needed. When that happened, they're like, great, we'll sign off on those 3. Then I had to go in for another 3. Wow. And then I had but she was so instrumental in being like, here are the tools, here's everything. So I'm so blessed that I had that. Because otherwise I would have done my own take, and with a chorus line in shows like that, very particular in how the characters are represented, how they're treated, how they are postured. And I remember my final audition for that was for the character of Richie, and we all know that Richie is black, and I am not. So there I was on the stage, and I'm like, is everyone ready? And they're like, yep. And I had to sing Give Me the Ball. Me, Josh Walden, singing Give Me the Ball on a Broadway stage. And luckily, I never had to go on for the role. But it's an interesting thing because there's only one line that Richie says. He's like, and I'm black. So obviously, it's the one line that I wouldn't say. But I just thought it was so funny to end that whole process. Auditioning for Richie
Wow.
on Broadway, just to cover. But, yep.
Damn.
There's my life, kids. Bam!
That's it.
That's all I got.
That's all
No,
she
no.
wrote.
No, that's amazing. We're actually probably gonna split it up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're gonna be on 2 episodes of
What?
Behind the Desk.
Yeah.
It's
Oh
called
my
We gotta
God.
do it for-
double feature.
Amazing.
That's amazing. Great.
Thank you so much,
Thank you
Josh.
so
Oh my God, of
Oh my God.
course.
You've inspired
Do you want to
us.
plug anything, by the way?
Yeah, plug away.
What do I plug?
You.
Like my social media, if anyone wants
Yeah.
to follow
Or
Or
me.
your dance company. You want to say it again?
No, I'll just say like on social media, I'm the Josh Walden. Duh.
I just want to say that I am the.
Well, I mean, and also if you check out, you'll start to see like information on my cabaret that's coming up on May 17th at the Duplex. Yeah, and then the ballet, you'll see information for that. That's coming on the 12th, but that's on Long Island. So I don't know if people in New York are gonna have the.
Go all the way to Long
Yeah,
Island.
I know. It's just,
We already live in Long Island City. It's fine.
there you go. Yeah. So it's exciting month with the cabaret, and tomorrow night, on one condition, is going to be at Dixon Place, which is like the Lower East Side. It's an amazing
Right.
dance space, and that's at 7:30. And it's just an evening of incredible works where people are told, choreograph a number, but you got to wear a blindfold. So, but yeah,
Love it.
yeah.
That's Mel.
I'm what?
What?
I'm Mel.
That's
You're
Mel.
Luke.
There you go.
There it is.
That's Behind
I
the
was like,
Desk.
who am I?